Laurence Olivier said, the nearest thing in incarnation to the eye of God. Now let's look at Francis Bacon.
Before you go,
yes.
That Sir Laurence Olivier quote, was that to Bacon or was that to Shakespeare?
To Shakespeare. No, this is to Shakespeare, absolutely. Thank you. Good comment. He was the son of Sir Nicholas Bacon, who was Keeper of the Seal, a high government position, and Lady Anne Bacon, a highly cultured lady. Highly cultured. I think, let me get this right. I think she spoke 6 languages fluently, and I think her cousin was tutor to King Edward before Prince Edward. He travelled for nearly 3 years with the English ambassador in France and Italy, and visited Spain too. He went to Cambridge, by the way, when he was 12 and didn't think much of Cambridge. He wrote himself. He's well known for writing himself. Thomas Jefferson's comment is very interesting. Thomas Jefferson considered, I think he wrote this in 1789. Thomas Jefferson wrote that he considered John Locke, Isaac Newton, and Francis Bacon to be the 3 greatest minds who'd ever lived. Thomas Jefferson. The Great Instauration. Bacon saw the need for a total reformation of society. His book, The New Atlantis, probably refers to what he considered to be the future America. He started a Renaissance movement in Germany, in secret. Bacon. He was a lawyer. Oh, isn't that interesting? He was a lawyer. His father, Sir Nicholas Bacon, intended to put aside enough money for him as the youngest son, because his elder brother was Anthony Bacon and he got money. But his father died suddenly, so that he'd not corrected his will, so that when his father died and Francis Bacon returned from France and Europe to London, he had no money, almost no money. So he basically had to become a lawyer. That's what he did. Interesting. So here we have a knowledge of the law which permeates Shakespeare exceedingly well. Guess what? This man, Dr. William Harvey, was physician to King James I as well as to Francis Bacon. They knew each other quite well. So no wonder you find in Shakespeare's plays a knowledge of the circulation of the blood and a great knowledge of medicine. Bacon is renowned for the scientific method. We call it the scientific method. Inductive thinking. And preserving food. Francis Bacon died, apparently, trying to see, because he was one who said, you know, before this time period, instead of doing experiments like we're used to, well, how does that work? Well, let's do an experiment and find out. They didn't do that. They didn't do that before he came along and suggested it, Francis Bacon. They would quote Aristotle. Well, you know, it must be like this. That's how they thought. Bacon came along and said, no, let's do an experiment. Let's find out how this thing works. And he died trying to see if freezing a chicken would preserve the meat. You shouldn't laugh, I suppose. There you go.
You didn't? Is that what happened?
Well, he never found out.
Oh, okay.
He never found out. Now, he had some profound spiritual experiences, like some of the ones we've mentioned too.
Microphone, please.
Oh, thank you. Speech as MP, well, we've mentioned that. He let this new self, this new boy, dominate his thinking when he was speaking in Parliament. And it cost him dearly. Those were the consequences. He set up this Renaissance movement in Germany called the Rosy Cross. He then said, though in a despised weed, I have procured the good of all men.
What did he mean by that?
Because he'd been brought down. He had been accused of corruption. And his enemies were sorry. No, go ahead.
I thought it meant tobacco.
I don't think so. But you might be right. I might be wrong. I found out I'm only wrong when I'm totally wrong. That's what I found out. But I think it means, because he ended his life in ignominy, his enemies got the better of him. And, you know, for a time he went to the Tower. They accused him of corruption, and, you know, he is one who, I can't remember his fancy words now exactly, but he's the one who said, a person who looks at a virtuous man, if he doesn't see that he can do it himself, he will try to bring that other person down. And I think that's what he means here.
Yes, Doctor, what did they mean by corruption back then as opposed to today?
I think they accused him of taking money from some people in court cases, which I think in those days paid some of the bills. However, it was not uncommon. He was certainly not the only person who partook a little bit in that system. More than that, I'll have to check up for you on that. I'll check it up and get back to you on that. I know he was accused of corruption. He went to the Tower for a bit, and then he came out. His goal was really to preserve the ability of the average man and woman to realize the God within themselves. You read his writings. This is exactly what Francis Bacon wanted to do. And, you know, you read the history of that time in England, and it's quite clear that Virginia, the name Virginia, refers to the whole eastern seaboard of the United States. This is Virginia. Now, last slide. You've put up with me a lot. I like these two slides because, you know, there seems to be a harmony in life. Would you agree? You know, we have, the way I see it, I'll tell you the way I see it. The way I see it is, we're all prodigal sons and daughters. We're all prodigal in the sense that God is still at home, but we've gone out for a walk in the senses. God is still at home, but it's we who've gone out for a walk in the senses. I think it was Meister Eckhart who said that, the Dominican monk. So that's our journey back, as we've heard some similar comments from Einstein and some of the others. But it seems like a lot of things kind of resonate and jive with others. For example, that my eldest grandson in the Toronto area is mildly autistic. And that in autistic children, this ability, this mixing of the senses, is 3 times as common as it is in the greater population. There seems to be a natural harmony where things harmonize, and that, wow, when we have that, when we feel this harmony, the small things, Sacus, right, who was a Roman senator around AD 0, if I remember correctly, when we feel this harmony, wow, then small things that we want can grow and grow and grow. But when we don't, it'll even bring about great things because there's no harmony involved. It seems like, you know, we are connected to nature, but we're also connected to God, to the divinity. Now,